Welcome to Seltzer Squad, the podcast about staying sober in the city, with your hosts, Kate Sander and Jess Valentine.
Jess, what do people do if they want more Seltzer Squad?
Oh, well, it's pretty easy. All they have to do is become a Patreon.
Patreon? A patron? A Patronus?
A patron on our Patreon.
If you want to be a Princess FOMO, you'll get early access to our episodes every Wednesday instead of Friday. If you want to subscribe to our middle tier, Former Hot Mess, you will receive the bonus monthly audio episode and early access to episodes. And if you indeed are the slickest bitch around, you will get early access, monthly bonus episodes, and you will be able to see all of our episodes now in video format.
This is truly a labor of love, and we want to keep it going. So help support us at patreon.com/Seltzer Squad.
Jess, are you listening to any good books?
Right now, I'm actually listening to an Audible exclusive podcast.
Ooh, I'm listening to Blackout by Sarah Hepola.
Oh, I listened to that one back in the day.
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of Audible. I love listening to Quit Lit or really any book. But did you know, Squad, that you can use our discount code to get a free month of Audible? Meaning you get a free book if you sign up.
That's right. Just go to audibletrial.com/Seltzer Squad and get a free month on us. I actually just signed up myself using it.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Kate.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I want to talk about anger.
Anger. Okay.
I've gotten a lot of texts from Squad members and messages about people asking us, like, is it normal to be mad when you're sober? And I'm like, oh, welcome. Yes. The anger storm could last a day, a week, a year. Who knows? I feel like I was angry for a long time.
Yeah, like angry at, so angry at people, angry at big alcohol, angry at, what are we angry about? Or angry that you can't drink like a normal person. Like,
I think it's all those things. For me, I think I was angry that I was doing everything right, but I wasn't like having an amazing experience, and I was still like bitter that people wanted to drink, that was still a thing people wanted to do, and I couldn't do it. And my life was better, undoubtedly, but it wasn't like whatever living my best life in my imagination is, which I don't know if later now, like being on, I don't want to say on the other side of anger because it definitely still visits, but it's like, I don't think your best life or all the things you think are going to magically fall into place and like you win the lottery and you're skinny, rich, and laying on a beach. Like, I don't think that that's real.
yeah, I think that, I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like I'm like a roller coaster, right? I feel like I've been angry. I feel like I've been under that pink cloud. And then now the reality of everything has just kind of set in. I feel like I was under that pink cloud for like quite some time. I don't know if you also experienced that, but I'm like, everything is great. My life is so much better. And bar none, yes, my life is so much better, and my life would not be what it is today if I wasn't sober. But I was definitely like living that high, and I was like so proud to be sober, and I didn't want any alcohol. Like, no, fuck that. And now I'm like, like, I am proud to be sober, but like I'm being more honest with myself. Like, you do want alcohol, right? Like sometimes you do, sometimes, but it's just making that conscious decision, obviously not to do it because having it is not worth it. But I definitely get angry all the time. And then I'm wondering how much of my anger is a defense mechanism. Because I had this conversation with Jody a long time ago, and she was like, it's a defense mechanism.
Whoa. Tell me more. I don't get it.
Because it's, you get angry. I mean, maybe that's not what it was, but either way, like, I was like, I get so mad. I get so mad that like people are so, I feel like a born again, but with like sobriety, right? Like, I feel like, I don't understand, like, why are people still drinking? Like, why are shirts like this being made?
Why is this
like,
important?
And she was just like, Jess, it's like a defense mechanism because you deep down, that you can't partake or whatever. So you like tell yourself like, fuck this, I fucking hate this, like down with this. So it's like a subconscious defense mechanism to keep you at bay.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never had thought about it like that. I'm like, oh.
I think too, like the anger would
Yeah.
come out for me because I feel like I was working so hard on myself, and then I would be like reinserted into life, or I would hang out with a group of friends and I'd be like, I'm the only one that's changing, and I'm annoyed that like they haven't changed. And I would be angry at them for like things they can't even be aware of or know that they like, not that A, they need to change, or B, that, but like I was like, I'm over here doing like all this work. Like I remember being mad at TJ, you know, being like, I'm over here in therapy, not drinking, doing all the right things. And, you know, he gets to still drink and be normal and not have to have anxiety. And I thought all these things were going to go away when some of them got actually worse when I got sober for a while because I had to address like the underlying issues of, you know, the reason why I kind of came to addiction in the first place was obviously because I was misplacing feelings and coping mechanisms.
Sure.
So when all that shit rose to the surface, it was like, but I quit drinking. Like, why is this still a problem? Why am I now wanting to overeat? Why am I now wanting to overspend? Why am I now, you know, being a workaholic? Like I thought I had fixed all of this because I quit drinking. And
right. It's like transference, I guess, like addiction transference. And I feel like to a certain degree, that's fine as long as like it's not hurting yourself or anybody, like your addiction. But also you want to break that cycle of addiction, I assume. But I think that like what you were talking about a minute ago is like Jody Nance always says, like the more work you do on yourself, the less tolerance you have for people that aren't putting the work in. So I don't know. Is it anger? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's anger, but it's like maybe it's more like disappointment. Like,
and sometimes I catch
you're-
myself getting like a superiority complex too, where I'm like,
oh, 100%. I get
that's
that.
not,
Like,
it's not their fault that like I quit drinking and went to therapy. And it's not that they're better or worse than I am because I went to go address these issues. It's just that like my pain and life became intolerable. So I had to make some sort of a change. And for me, it was a dramatic one. Some people don't have to quit drinking, but I did. And I can't hold them hostage for changes I had to make and are now seeing a benefit. And maybe they haven't like, you know, it's like I have a much lower tolerance for people that like come to me with problems over and over and over again and then don't want to take advice. And it's like,
yeah, or like you spend so much time giving them advice and they don't take it, which is like, that happens, right?
Totally.
But I mean, I don't know if we've had this conversation or if it was just me and Jody, but you know, say you're on a ladder and like you do like the work and now you're at this level and now you're at this level and your friends are just like still here. Like the gap is just going to get wider and wider. So I feel like the past 6 months, not actually with myself, I've seen it more with Cam and some of her friends or whatever. I'm coming to terms with just like, you know, friendships, don't always have to be forever, right? Like there's sometimes, you know, you're friends with someone at a certain place, a certain time, a certain like life point you are in your life. And outgrowing people doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing.
True.
Like you think of friendships ending, you think something happened. And it's like, no, sometimes people just, they grow up, they grow in different directions, they grow apart, and I feel like that's totally fine and normal and should be normalized. And like, I don't know, I feel like we look down like, oh, why am I not friends with it? Why isn't this person calling me anymore or whatever? And it's like sometimes, yeah, that hurts, but then sometimes it's also like, well, you know what, we were best friends for like in the year, I don't know, 2016 or whatever, because that's at our point in our lives where we needed to be best friends. And now we're in different stages of our lives and that's okay. So for me, I'm starting to just like recognize that and be like,
not
okay,
attaching
like,
anger to it.
Yeah. Or just like, yeah, just like realize like, oh, that's okay. That's life. Like relationships change. And I know like that's another reason why I don't want to have bridesmaids or anything at my wedding. I'm like, look at like everyone's picture, like, oh, I'm not friends with that person anymore.
Right.
Oh, I'm not close. It's just like, I don't want that. I want like, it's just, yeah, it's like, who's your best friend now in the moment or whatever. Yeah, I just feel like just like with relationships and life and everything, everything's constantly evolving and changing. And why don't we think about friendships like that?
Or relationships for the same reason. I mean, all those things you just said can apply to like a romantic situation as well. I think the thing I've realized that my anger is immediately attached to my expectations of a person or a situation. So if I have expectations about what TJ should be doing, then I can attach anger to it when he doesn't meet the expectations I made up in my mind, but perhaps did not communicate at all. Like, if a friend is not holding up my expectation of what a friend should be, then I get angry that if you come to me and ask for advice, I expect that I'm spending time giving you advice and you take it and then apply it to your life, right? Like, obviously that's very unrealistic. But then when you come back to me a second, a third, a fourth time with the same problem, I'm now angry because my expectations were that you fucking listen to me and you know what I mean?
Your time.
Exactly. Yeah. And then now I'm choosing to be in anger because I'm like, well, she fucking didn't listen to me. And so I think now I'm trying to go into situations. And I mean, I spent a long time in sobriety being really angry. And now I'm like, if I can meet people with more compassion and help them in the ways that make me still preserve my own, like, boundaries, because I'm a person that will like drop anything to help somebody, but then I'll get mad if they don't take my help. So where I go wrong is I put myself into the negative to help someone else and then get mad because I didn't preserve myself and give them what I could. I instead give them more than I was able to at the time and then get mad when they don't, take my advice. And I'm thinking of a particular person because she also, gets really mad when someone doesn't listen to her like right away. And I feel like it's so relatable. And I think a lot of us in sobriety that are mad it's like you said, you want to be evangelical about getting sober and you want to tell everybody how to fix their life, and then they don't want to listen to you or they're not capable of making the change. Then you can, hold anger for them. And it's a hard balance. I was talking to my older sister and she's not an alcoholic, but obviously we have a lot of control issues that run in our family. And she was just talking about how she's irritated all the time and how her friends to say that like something's never good enough for her and it's never, her standards are never going to be met and she's always going to be mad about something. And she's like, I don't want to come off that way, and I'm like, yeah, but it's your expectations. I have the same thing. Like my expectations I set for myself are so high, for a situation are so high, for other people are so high that the margin of being upset about it is extremely high. Like it's very likely that I will get mad about something, but I have to let go of the expectations.
I can relate to that so hard, but it's the same sort of thing where it's like, I expect people to like be mind readers.
Totally.
It's just like, I'm okay. For example, like the other day I was like, when we were away in Mexico.
Yes.
I was like, not even upset, but like whatever. I was like sitting on this like porch thing, and in my head I was like, it'd be so nice if Cam just came out here and sat with me and like looked at the ocean. And then like I look inside and she's like on the bed, like playing on her phone, and I got so mad. And I came in and I was like,
put on your phone. Why are you always on your phone?
Like, really? We're on vacation? Like that. And she's like, what?
Yeah. Excuse me?
She's just like, communicate. If you want me to do this, you need to say, hey, why don't you come out? And I just want people to be mind readers.
Yeah.
And just know what I want and just do it, because then I'm going to get angry and upset.
Yes.
And I'm going to take it out on you. And then it's going to hurt me in the end. So if you could just help me out with my own self-sabotage, that would be great.
Or like a situation where there's presumed anger. Like, for example, a friend of ours, she was, it was Memorial Day weekend. I won't get into all of the particulars, but it was her first Memorial Day weekend sober, and everybody was out with friends, whether or not they were drinking, whatever. But I think she was potentially mad that she wasn't out with people, number one. And then number two, she couldn't drink. And I think there was anger attached there. And then there's like the point where you're looking for a fight, right? Where you're mad and you need that release. So then any kind of communication is going to go south because you're looking to release that anger. I can very much relate to that. Like if I'm feeling pent up about me feeling overworked, then I like will go looking for a fight to release that energy on someone. And I think that's something that I had to learn in sobriety too, where like now I can understand that like, oh, I'm building up in an area of my life because I have no boundaries. Now I'm going to like look to fucking blow up on someone that doesn't deserve it. And I can at least like slow my roll. But in my angry years of sobriety, I couldn't tell the difference. I was just like cause effect, like had bad day at work, took out on TJ. Like I wasn't able to be like, oh, maybe I'm going home to look for a fight because I'm not able to speak my quote unquote truth at work or draw a boundary. Like I take it out on somebody that I'm more comfortable with, who I know I can defeat, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So it could be like me being mad about big alcohol, me being mad at my boss, me being mad at a friend whose expectations, fell short for me. And then me taking it out on somebody that I can comfortably fight with and take it out on, and who won't leave me for the most part. I mean, we don't know forever, but so I can come home and take out my day on TJ. And I realize like I have to let all of that stuff go. And obviously it's dealt with on a case-by-case basis. But for me, understanding why I'm mad in the first place, or the fact that like two unrelated things could be connected and I didn't know that, helps me now. Jess, what's another way listeners can support the pod?
The best way that someone can support our podcast, besides from joining our Patreon, is to also treat themselves to sober treats, because we have a whole merch store.
From Princess FOMO to Former Hot Mess, we've got you guys covered. Check out seltzersquadshop.com to treat yourself to something sober
while supporting the pod. Hey, Kate, what is the number one sober tool that we always recommend?
Therapy.
And we have recently partnered with BetterHelp. Do you want to tell everyone what that's about?
So BetterHelp is an online mental health platform. Basically what it is, it's an app that you get access to therapists. So you take their short quiz, they match you with somebody in your area, and it's affordable private counseling for individuals and couples anytime, anywhere. You don't even have to leave your house. You don't even have to wear hard pants.
That is amazing.
And what are we giving our listeners?
10% off. Just go to betterhelp.com/seltzersquad.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about that.
Because like, for instance, the same friend of ours, she texted me and she's like, you know what? I'm like signing out of social media for this weekend. It's 4th of July. I feel like I'm just going to be mad. And I'm like, that's so healthy.
That's
like,
smart. Yeah.
You're proactively like drawing a line for yourself, because you're going to see a bunch of your, network drinking and being at barbecues and bonfires, and you're going to be mad. And so you're now learning from what happened previously and putting in some boundaries and tools to protect yourself. And I feel like I don't do that enough. I don't like think proactively about potential.
Like Omar, like the personal boundaries and stuff.
So
this is, this doesn't, I don't know if this applies, but it's a funny thing that happened to me yesterday. And since we're just on the topic of anger. So I was at Lowe's to get like a grill for 4th of July.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I want to like go to the garden center to get like this plant. And then like Cameron had like a plant and it didn't have any like flowers on it. I'm like, why don't we just get one that's already bloomed, whatever. And then we were not fighting.
Okay.
We were not fighting. I was just like, I don't know. I'm like, wouldn't you want a prettier one that has like blooms or whatever? And then some guy walks by and he was like, I don't know, like a sassy older, like white gay guy. And he goes, okay, but you don't have to be a bitch about it. And he gave me the nastiest look. And I was just like, what? So maybe like he needed to take that like some shit out on someone else, and but it was just like so random that we just laughed because I was like, "What did this motherfucker just say?"
Yeah, he needed to let something out on anyone. You were just happened to be standing there. I was with my coworker on the subway, and there was like a homeless person on the seat in front of us, and they were covered in a sheet, and people were like taking pictures, and she was like, "Why the fuck do these people have to?" And she was like saying it so everybody could hear. She was like, "Why the fuck do these people have to be taking pictures?" And I looked at her and I was like, why do you have to take out your anger on these random people that, yes, should not be taking pictures? But it's, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like, not my job to police people openly taking fucking the pictures that they want to take. Like, girl. And I was like, I think you might be misplacing a little frustration. She was like, shut up, Kate. I was like,
I do that.
You know?
I'm like your coworker.
Yeah.
I do that shit a lot.
It's like you want to pop off and like assert yourself in random situations. And I feel like sometimes it's like misplaced.
Well,
like it was, no one was taking our picture. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know, I agree.
But she was kind of, this is where it gets like grayer for me because she was like defending that person.
But
in my opinion.
Maybe they wanted their picture taken. We don't fucking know. I'm just saying.
As someone who no longer rides the subway because people would constantly take my photo without consent.
Right.
I appreciate her like defending that
diligence.
Lady. But maybe you're right. Maybe she was pissed off, but about something else and was taking her anger out on those like travelers. However, it's stuff like that also pisses me off.
But that's the same as like somebody being a drunk. You know what I mean? Like you can apply it to the drinking situation is like, there's a way to be like, hey man, do you have to be taking that guy's picture? Or like, why the fuck do you need to be taking his picture? Like there's two ways to approach it. Like she could have responded in like, come on guys, like do we like let's respect his space.
Them rather than like passive aggressively saying it loud to you.
Yes.
I get it. I definitely relate to her.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm guilty of that.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting also to see like what types of things set certain people off and other people not. It's just like, I guess, I was on TikTok and I guess it's kind of, I saw this video and he was just like, people that like say they're triggered by my videos, like then just keep scrolling, unfollow. He's like, because like, I don't know your trauma. You don't know my trauma or anyone else's. Like different things are going to trigger or set off other people.
And anything somebody can find to be fucking mad about. That's the other thing. It's like, there is no right. No one is ever going to be all the way right.
And I feel like people, especially on TikTok, I don't know, people are so like, I'm mad about this and I need to tell you why you're fucked up for posting this or saying this or doing this. And it's like, that's your opinion. And like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like I see sometimes like this person's just living their life. Like just because you had some like weird shit happen in your life, like why does this person have to like censor themselves to not upset you? And it's just like, why are you even getting angry? It's just like, I know.
But it's also like all around us all the time. Like TJ was saying, like, it feels like we're more divided than ever. And I'm like, I feel like we're the same amount of divided. It's just that we all have a microphone. Like everybody can now share, like we're all looking at the opinions in a vacuum. And so it feels louder, but I think it's the same. Like,
yeah, that's true. It's just like, it's kind of how like with like the whole Trump presidency, I was like, I don't think that, okay, I'm sure that some people got more racist, homophobic, xenophobic, etc. But I think that also it just kind of lifted the veil off of the people that were already like that, that were just like keeping it hidden
100%.
Because they knew it was like wrong. So it's like, it's just lifting the veil on that. So I agree with you. I think that it's just like, it's like
amplified. Coming in with an expectation of what's right and what's wrong through your eyes is the difference. And like different things can be true, I say in air quotes, to different people. Like that's why I've tried to release the expectation that I can fully change someone's mind to become what my version of right is in one sentence or one, like assault, insult or something that I've just had to, if I come to the table less charged, then I'm not, I don't leave mad. I'm like, wow, that was a fucking lot, like that was a fucking lot.
This episode was a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad lately. Like I don't feel like I've been
Poor
carrying.
TJ, if you are.
Yeah, I don't think I've been carrying a lot of anger. I think I've been like processing it. Like obviously every day I get mad about shit and I'm like frustrated, but I'm doing better at like processing why maybe that is, and it almost always comes down to like a lack of a boundary that I have either with myself with something or with other people and me. And it's like,
yeah,
if I feel taken advantage of, it's because I didn't instill and hold true on a boundary. If I'm feeling angry because I'm looking at social media too much, it's because I fucking didn't put my phone down. And like ultimately it comes down to like my expectations and where I choose to spend my energy.
True. Damn.
But we've had a lot of people be like, is there like a bitter, mad part? And I'm like, yeah, you just got to ride the wave and like try not to take it out on everyone.
Yep.
Get a therapist. Take it out on her or him. Yeah.
Take it out on yourself through her.
I don't know. Squad, are you guys mad? I feel like some of y'all are mad.
Let us know, but don't take it out on us. Which some people do. Some people
you can take it out on us. I don't care. You care more about the mad people than I do. I'm like, then fuck them.
Yeah, you're so good about it. Well,
until we meet again.
Thank you for joining us, and until we meet again. Yeah.
Be nice to yourself.
And don't forget,
hangovers suck.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Every review helps other listeners find us. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Kate Sander. For show notes and resources, check out seltzersquad.com.